And we are live. We are live. How about that, Carl?
Oh
Carl
man.
Corazzini, Evan Marinofsky, live Bruins beat on draft night. Isn't this what you expected last June? Like, oh, we're going to be here June 27th, definitely talking about the Bruins making a lottery pick. How about that?
Well, can I tell you, this is a dream come true to be on some sort of live cast talking draft. I think any draft is my favorite night, right? Like the potential for what could be, right? Like for any franchise. And I think since I was 10 years old, I was enamored with NFL, NBA, NHL, and MLB drafts. Like just Evan, thank you for having me on. I'm excited.
I am too. First of all, I'm excited you're here. We're presented by
Yep.
Prize Picks. Go use that promo code CLNS to get $50 back when you play just $5. I am pumped, and this is something like you and I have talked about this since March. Who are they going to take? Who do you want? All these different things, and for the last month or so, we've on this show. I remember I've had you on a couple times since the season ended, and it's like, who should they take? Who are they going to take? And to me, like, I think this is one of the biggest moments in this franchise's history in a long time. Like, trade deadline day this past year was huge because it set the direction that they were going in. And then you have on top of that, like, think back even further. Like, what equates to this? This is essentially the start of a new era. Like, this is the start of a new wave of talent. They have the seventh pick, and we'll see what they do with it. But like, to me, this is the start of a new era.
Yeah, I think you were in the same boat probably in 2006, right? Like you just traded Joe Thornton. You had that, what did you come out with the fifth overall pick there? You had that Phil Kessel. It was a new wave. I think you had right, like a big draft there with Krejci and Lucic there just thereafter, just
Marchand was there
before.
as well.
Yeah, Marchand. So I think it's similar to that. Like definitely a right, like for this generation of fans, this is a big draft to see what Sweeney and Neely do with this. Right? Like do you hold the pick? Do you start to restock your system, which really doesn't have a lot of prospects, if any at all, that are really going to make an impact in your NHL lineup? I'm really hoping that I'm really hoping that they stick with the pick and what you were talking about, what they did last year at the trade deadline, which is, all right, we've got to get a little bit younger. We are gonna we're gonna be in a little bit of a rebuild, right? I think they would retool, not rebuild, but I really look forward to the seventh overall pick.
Yeah, I think like my biggest thing, it's funny because like throughout the day, like there was the Noah Dobson trade to Montreal, and Montreal gave up the 16th and 17th picks. And then it's like, oh no, like the Islanders are gonna jump into the get another pick in the top 5 or 6. But are they gonna look at 7? Are they, the Bruins gonna say we're cool with trading the 7th pick for the 16th and the 17th? And like I've been adamant, please don't do that. And I understand people would say, why not? That's 2 first rounders there. That's 2 high end talents. Like 2 is better than 1. And what I would say to that is like, you stunk all year. You get the 7th pick. Yeah, it's not where you wanted it to be at 5 or 1 or 2. But like you have, and this is something we'll probably, circle back with throughout the show, but like you have 2 firsts next year. You have 2 firsts the year after. I'm not dying to recoup all these extra firsts this year. Like, get the high end player. It seems like, you're going to have a good couple players to pick from at 7. Like, I am not for trading back. I want them to stay at 7, make this pick. This is, your guy going forward, and you stick with that. You stick with that.
Yeah, I think at this point you take best player available. I hope they're not beholden to having to take a center.
Well, it's
Like
funny
if you
because
look,
Sweeney talked about that on Wednesday, being like, we're, and granted, you can take it with a grain of salt, but he said, I'm paraphrasing, we're taking the best player available. We don't care if they're a center or a wing. A lot of guys come into the league as centers and move to the wing. A lot of guys play a lot of different, either left winger, center, or right winger, center. So I would expect them to go best available.
yeah, I just look at someone like Porter Martone, who, early in the year was a consensus top 3 player, and him on the wing, if he's someone that falls to 7, and, your other top end centers, the Mises, the Hagens, the Denoyers, if they're not available, I think you run to that podium and you pick up someone that could be someone like Corey Perry, right? That's playing in your top six and producing offensively. Like I do, right? Like sometimes the Bruins have had the tendency to outthink themselves and outsmart the rest of the league, and they don't always make best picks, right? So
my
that's
nightmare scenario is, Hagens is available and they take like a McQueen or they take someone else like that. That scares me because, and we can get into sort of the different prospects, but like, there are certainly red flags with McQueen in his back, which we'll get into. Before we do, though, I want to touch on something because Gary Bettman's speaking right now. First two picks, the first pick I think we assume is going to be Schaefer, so there's not a ton of intrigue there. It's really after that. Like there's been rumors now with San Jose at 2. It's felt like it's going to be Misa all along, but there's been reports this week. Is it Frindell? Does San Jose trade the pick? I don't know. I think we are destined for fireworks here. And I think what's going to get interesting, and this is why I wanted to really stream with you, was like 3, 4, 5, 6. It's going to be crossing guys off the list and going, who's available now? What's the move here? Which direction do you go in? Because this every mock draft has been different. No mock drafts are the same. We have top 12s that are on our virtual whiteboards, which we'll unveil in a second, and they're different. They're very different because that's the nature of this group.
I think for the most part, though, the only consistency has been number 1 and 2, right? Like Schaefer and Misa. Yes. It was really only in the last day or so that Frindell has kind of been kicked up as a potential for San Jose. And then it came out today, a report that they were, interested in potentially trading that pick for a younger top 6 player that already established themselves in the National Hockey League. I think you're in a position with, right, like you have Celebrini, you have Will Smith, you have a younger core there. Is there someone, right, like a little bit more established that you can have play in that lineup and give them a little bit more support than looking for a year or two down the line where Misa and or Frindell. So my expectation is that Mike Grier is open for business at number 2, and you may see some sort of fireworks. What that trade might look like, I have no idea, but it will certainly be interesting after 1.
I want to go through this just real quick because they haven't started yet. And again, I'm not super. I don't think it's hugely interesting what happens at 1 because we expect it to be Schaefer. Just Bruins draft history. I mean, last year your first round pick was Dean Letourneau. Then you had Elliot Grenwald, Jonathan Morello, Luke Johansson. 2023, you didn't pick until the 3rd round. Chris Pelosi, Beckett Hendrickson in the 4th, Ryan Walsh in the 6th, Casper Nason in the 7th, and Christian Kodinsky in the 7th as well. 2022, Matt Patra was your 2nd round pick, so that seems to be trending upwards. Cole Spicer at 4, Dan Zloch-Melis at 4. He, again, tore it up in Providence when he came over from UMass. Frederick Brunet in the 5th, Reed Dick in the 6th, Jackson Edward in the 7th. 2021 was your first rounder, or your last first rounder up till last year. Fabian Lysell at 21, Brett Harrison at 85, Philip Svedback in the 4th, Oscar Yelvik, Ryan Mast, Andre Gassot, Ty Gallagher. 2020 was really like your last big hit. 2020 was, 2nd round pick, Mason Lowry. And so far, like obviously minus 43 is not great, but still a viable defenseman in the NHL, a good 2nd rounder. Trevor Kuntar in the 3rd, Mason Langenbrunner in the 5th, Riley Duran in the 6th. John Beecher was your 1st rounder in 2019, 30th overall. He has value. He's a 4th line center. I think we know what he is. I don't think that's anything like, anything spectacular, but he plays. Quinn Olson was your 3rd rounder. Roman Baichkov, Matthias Mankivi, Jake Schmaltz rounded out that draft. 2018, Axel Anderson in the 2nd round. Jakob Lauko in the 3rd. I mean, he has panned out as an NHL player. Curtis Hall, Dustin McFall, Pavel Shen. And then 2017, you had Urho Vakanainen was your 1st rounder. Jack Studnicka was your 2nd. But do you remember the expectations for Jack Studnicka? Do you remember that? Oh my God. Like he was like Patrice Bergeron 2.0 at the time.
Well, that's what we seem to do in Boston, right? Like I think you had similar expectations of Patra, right? Especially coming out of training camp where he was exceptional during his first training camp, and it was reminiscent of what Patrice Bergeron did in 2003, right? So you have players with similar characteristics, and everyone wants to put Patrice Bergeron, right? Like everyone's saying that about Caleb Desnoyers right now, right? Like if he comes in, if the Bruins were likely to draft him, that he has Patrice Bergeron characteristics. That's just really hard expectation. And yeah, Studnicka and Patra to this point just haven't been able to live up to those hopes.
Yeah, Patra a little bit more. Islanders just picked Schaefer first, so into the that's out of the way, and now we can get in. Now we can really dive into the nitty gritty. Again, the last Bruins first round pick to be like a franchise cornerstone was 2016. Charlie McAvoy, 14th. That's a hit. They had Frederick right after, later in that first. You had Ryan Lindgren in the second, who you traded for Nash. And then obviously 2015 was 2015. But that was like McAvoy was your last impactful first rounder that was the franchise cornerstone. And for the Bruins, you're hoping that whoever they pick this time around, has a similar kind of impact.
And not that Bruins fans care in the least, but have to give a huge shout out to Matthew Darsh, who is a good friend of mine. Like, you always root for genuine people, and he's put in some time. So to be the general manager of the Islanders and have the opportunity to, make the first pick in Matthew Schaefer, like, congratulations to him and his family. Like, just really good people. Always enjoy opportunity to hang out with Matthew, and you always want good things for good people. So congrats to Matthew.
Weren't you in his wedding?
He was at my wedding. Yeah, so Stephanie and Matthew came to my wedding. We had just played with each other in Hershey during the lockout, and really, like, in hockey, there's so many great people, but just genuine to who he is, family man, good person, doesn't take himself too seriously either, and I enjoy that characteristic more than any. Like,
that's the most fun.
Yeah.
Who wants to take themselves seriously? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, right. Like, he'll talk to anyone, and yeah, you're just really excited for someone that's put in the work and is a good person to have a dream realized. So good on him. And it looks like he's active. He'll be active today.
I'm very curious to see, do they find a way to move in? Do they find a way to move in and get Hagens? Like, and this is something we're going to find out in the next 20 minutes. Can they get into that top 5? Again, I don't see. Well, let's put up our top 12. So everybody knows we love the whiteboard, right? Whiteboard is as good as it gets. Carl is a big whiteboard guy, and we're going to add it. We're going to put up our own whiteboards. This is Carl's top 12. We did 12. It's specific because it started with you. You had your 12 prospects. You want to run down this and sort of your thoughts, ideas, things like that? Yeah, the whiteboard is back. This is our version of the whiteboard. We've advanced. We don't just.
I thought you were serious. I thought you were serious though. Like, I wrote them down on a whiteboard. It's downstairs.
Okay, that's fine.
I'm gonna leave it there. Yeah, I think Matthew Schaefer, the consensus number 1 pick. You saw what happened to Team Canada when he got injured during World Juniors. Michael Misa, right, like the type of year offensively it had, and I always put stock in the fact, right, like, he exceptional status each year. He got a little bit better. James Hagens, I don't know why he's slid so much, right? Like, obviously the size, but he was dominant at U18 a year ago, and then was a huge part of Team USA winning gold medal, right? Like, offensively gifted. At worst, is he a 50-60 point second line center? Like, give me that all day, right? Like,
I'm fine with that. I don't like, and I even like, I get that he didn't have the same freshman year as like Will Smith or Macklin Celebrini or Adam Fantilli, but he was still a point per game guy. And yeah, it moves him out of being the number 1 pick, but that doesn't mean that he's now number 11 or 12. Like, he just is somewhere in that top 5. I don't get
that. I don't get it either, right? Like, He's a late 2006. Like, to put that in perspective, as a November 2006. Do you know what he could do next year, Evan?
November of 2006. What do you mean? What he could do next year? Like,
He could be a senior at prep school
that's right.
next year.
That's right.
Next year, come up in the fall. He could come play for St. Mark's, and
Yeah.
like he went in early.
Are
Right,
there
like
still 06s in prep?
there will be next year. Yeah, like it's someone that's a late 06. So this year's 06s would have been
Oh, you're
just
right. Because like Miles Brosnan's a late 07 and he'll be at Dexter. So like I
but
know what you
and
mean.
he'll be a junior, right? Like he would.
Yeah.
I think he may have
He might accelerate, but
might
yeah,
accelerate
like
if, but yeah, you could be a 2006 and in prep hockey next year. Right, like there could even be some 2005s that do post grad year somewhere.
yeah,
But
so Hagens could be a post grad in prep at because he's a late and he's a late
he wouldn't even be
late
a
06.
post grad. He could be a legitimate senior at prep school next year.
All right, that's fair. I didn't realize
Yeah.
that.
Um, I'm big on production. He's been productive at every right, like from Mount right to the national program to U18s to World Juniors, like that means something. Martone, right? Like I followed quite a bit, right? Like with right, like having a player on the U.S. national program, you saw the kids play at right the CHL prospects, and right, like to have a bigger winger with a set of skills that Martone is. um, I would be excited if he fell to 7 and there wasn't a top end center around. I don't know much about Anton Frendel, right? Like to speak to his game, I can't do it. But you look at playing pro hockey in Sweden is not easy, and to have the type of year that he had in the Allsvenskan, to play his playoffs and then come to U18, and maybe U18 didn't go the way he would have wanted, but there shows character, right? Like that he wanted to be his teammates and see out that age group through, and then was able to watch Denwanier play a couple times in Memorial Cup. I think the one thing that everyone says and it scares me a little bit, right? Like the idea that he's got that B game, right? Like if he doesn't see the offensive ceiling, that still can play that all around game, which is great.
Mhm.
I got Jake O'Brien probably as best passer in the draft. From what you see, a huge year in the OHL for Brantford. Brady Martin has had a really good U18 tournament and was able to watch some of those games. Plays a style of game like Travis Konechny. Someone like a fits the Bruins style. Like probably I could imagine.
He's a Bruin. He seems I could see that tonight. I
Yeah,
could see it.
fans would enjoy him. And then right, like the next two guys are D, and I truly believe that good defensemen win championships. Right, like trying to pick between Jackson Smith and Kayshawn Aitchison, like I don't know. Like Aitchison is more physical. Jackson Smith like retrievals and first pass and skating. Jack Nesbitt, right, like fits the mold of the Florida Panthers and their recipe for winning 2 Stanley Cups, like physical winger. And then yeah, Richard Gallant out of the St.
Damn
Mark
right.
School. Yeah, get him up there. Like had a huge year for the national program. I think he was second leading scorer.
Second in
Had
points.
second in points, second leading goal scorer. Right, like I don't anticipate that Richard's going to get drafted in the first round, but just hoping someone, um, is willing to bet on a kid that plays with a ton of energy, that's always around the puck, willing to do whatever he can for his teammates. So you just want to see Richard get rewarded because, first year for the national program was difficult, transition in, injuries, and then, I think he worked extremely hard to put himself in a position to, be drafted and make an impact as a freshman next year at Harvard.
Yeah, for those who don't know, Richard played for Carl for 2 years at St. Mark's. Went to the national program. Had good a fine first year, but really took off in the second year. He's like 5'7.5", I think,
Yeah.
5'8".
Yep.
So he's undersized. Can play center. Can play the wing. Can play anywhere. So hopefully for him, he's like gets picked somewhere in this draft.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. Ironically enough, you don't have Roger McQueen in your top 12. What's up with that?
Yeah, I think two things scare me, right? not about the player, right? Like for all these players, they have so many things that they do well. But like if I were ever to put together a board, two things scare me. Number one's character, right? Um, that like I can't account for that. What you're like in the locker room, what are your habits? And then injury, right? Like that's nothing that he can control. This is a non-acute overuse injury of the back for a larger player. That like I understand all the upside, and I'm probably going to be wrong, but it just harkens back to like a Nolan Patrick, like a bigger player that had injury concerns and kind of was in and out of the league. And you hope for right, like, and you speak about all the things that he's capable of doing, right? Like that, right? Like that's the one thing that
I
you
have a
want.
feeling we're gonna be talking about him later. I don't
Do you
know. I
really?
know so many. There's first of all, I know they like him. I've heard that. I've read it a bunch. And a lot of mock drafts have him. It would not shock me if he's the pick at 7. It wouldn't. Like I think it's O'Brien. That's my like ultimate prediction. I think it's Jake O'Brien. But I could easily see them taking a big old swing and saying, look, if this kid hits, like, and this thing, like, you hear from scouts, you read, he has legitimate number one center potential. But as you said, it's the back. Like, that's what I keep, because if he didn't have the back injury, if he was like a clean bill of health or like, not back injuries, we're talking about him going like in the next couple picks.
Right. Yeah. And
And
and,
that's,
and right, like the skill set for a kid that
mm,
is that large and can move that well and produce at a high level that has the potential to be the top six center, right? Yeah, right, like top six center. You want that, and I would feel more comfortable with it, Evan, if it was an acute injury. And this, like, I'm not a doctor,
I'm not
right? Like,
either. Hand up.
right, like so I don't know, right? Like they're just the game's gonna get harder. It does. Right. And regardless if it was back or some of these other injuries at a younger age, when you're not 46 and waking up and your hamstrings hurt just because you woke up out of bed the wrong way, right? Like you're going to go play 82 games against grown men that are putting food on the table. Like it's gonna be hard. Like, and this is the one thing, right? And this is what I'll say about the National Hockey League, right? In the American League, you went Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And in a large part, that was easier than playing Tuesday, taking a day off, playing Thursday. Like the
Mm-hmm.
schedule that they play in the National Hockey League, like obviously they have the amenities that they charter planes and they have the best food and stay in the best hotels. But that schedule going every other night it's hard. It's
Yeah,
hard.
it seems it.
And so I'm not saying anything about the player. I think McQueen, if all goes well, is going to be a great player. Um, I'm fearful of the back. So that's why I don't have him in the top 12. Yeah, I've seen everything just like you, right? Like attached to the Bruins, and if they
Well,
draft him, I will be the biggest supporter of Roger McQueen and hope that he can help take the Bruins back to the playoffs.
there you go. Misa, by the way, is off the board. Misa goes to San Jose at number
Okay.
2. Oh, there you go. So now we get into the nitty gritty. Now we get interesting. You got Chicago, you've got Utah, you've got Nashville, and you have Philly. I look at Nashville and Philly as needing the same things. They need centers. That's why, like, I don't see Hagens getting past now Philly. Like, I just don't see that happening.
So
But like Chicago, so like the popular thought is Frindell, which could easily be the case. But wouldn't you think a big, like power forward type winger like Martone would be the perfect complement for Connor Bedard? So like if Martone gets into that, if they take Martone here, Chicago, that changes everything because now it's shifted down. Now, like Utah's looking at potentially Frindell, and everyone's looking at a center that maybe they weren't looking at before.
I think two things come in, right? Like, and this is obviously, 18-year-old kids. Like for Martone, if you draft him, he's probably a year or two away, right? Like he's not stepping into their lineup next year. Frondell has already played at the pro level, so he like understands what it's like to play against men. I think some of the decision making there and this is just for Chicago. I get what you're talking about, like potential for Bruins, but I think for Chicago, you're deciding what is Bedard long term. Like struggles in the faceoff circle. Is he a center? Do you move him to wing? If you move him to wing, and now do you go after a top end center? I think the thing about Philly to look at, and I was thinking about this in my head today, do you go Hagens and Zegras at center? Do you have two smaller,
And you
potentially
have Michkov. And you have Michkov, too. Like,
do you go potentially right, like not the best defensive centers right up on your right, like down the middle? Like I think that's
it's so unlike them. Like that's why I don't know. Like
I could see them taking Brady Martin.
I could too.
I really
could see
could.
I could see Utah taking Brady Martin. I could see Philly taking Brady Martin. But again, that's banking on Zegras panning out and being a top 6 consistent stable center, which he's been at times. And I know, and I think the situation in Anaheim was not fantastic. So
yeah, it'll be interesting, right? Like Cronin is an old school demanding.
He's gone now.
Yeah, no, I know.
Oh, yeah. Yes,
you're talking about like what it right. Like he's in Iowa now, or he's in
I don't know where
Minnesota.
He is, but he's
I think he's Minnesota's AHL coach now. I think that's Iowa. I'm not 100% positive. Iowa Wild, but right, demanding. He always has been. Asked you to play defense, right? Like Trevor is an offensively gifted player. You transition to Philadelphia, which as an organization over their history is much like the Bruins, right? Like defensively minded, play your position. Like how does that work out for them? That's where I see like if the Islanders aren't able to get into that, top 5 somehow, I wouldn't see Hagens going to Philly, but I obviously I'll be wrong and he'll go right to Philly.
George McElroy asks, whiteboard question mark? Well, George, I have good news. We have our virtual whiteboard. We've upgraded. We have Carl's top 12, which we just went over. And now we'll look at my top 12. Schaefer and Misa off the board. I have Frindell third. I've liked Frindell since I first really started diving into these prospects back in March. I just think playing against men, his shot, his play driving abilities, I like him. Porter Martone, I think, is probably going to fall unless Chicago takes him here. Just because, 6'3", big right winger, power forward, a guy whose comparisons are Philip Forsberg, Matt Tkachuk, and Corey Perry. So, like, I like that. I would have, again, if he's there and Hagens is off the board, I'm okay if that's 7. Like,
and it's hard though, right? Like you look at those, and that's what I was doing all day.
Oh, I know. Right? It's no one knows.
In these top 12, all these players have high-end comparisons. Just so hard to figure out.
And they're not all gonna hit. They're not all gonna hit.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, continue.
No. I'm looking at your 5 and your 4 and 5, and those are I'm really hoping that Martone or Hagens are there for the Bruins.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. If you can get one of those two, you've got a top 3 or 4 prospect in this draft. I have Hagens at 5. Everybody who listens to this show knows how much I love James Hagens and how much I think I want the Bruins to take him. So I'm not going to dive fully into that yet. Caleb Desnoyers at 6. The two-way game, I agree with you. Not producing in the Memorial Cup is definitely a annoying thing, but the two-way game and still the production he put up in the Q playoffs, I would take a shot on. O'Brien at 7. Arguably the best playmaker in this draft. I think this is who ends up being there. So I would go, I'm fine with that. If that's the pick, I don't think it's a flashy pick, a pick that has people be like, oh my God, but that's about the caliber of high-end player you should probably get at 7. So
I'm interrupting you now for sure.
That's fine.
Do you see Tim Morrison's question? If the Islanders call and offer Barzal 16-17, do you do it for 7?
That's a hard one to turn down.
Yeah, I'm running.
Admit, I don't know if you're taking it.
I'm taking it. Like like I just spoke out of both sides of my mouth, right? Like talking about injuries with McQueen, but Barzell's got a fractured kneecap, and I'm running to.
He isn't running. That's for damn sure.
Yeah,
It's a legitimate, Tim. It's a legitimate question
yeah.
because Barzal would come in and be your high end offensive center, which
Yep.
you don't currently have now. I've said this so many times, Carl. Their core is not getting younger,
Oh,
and their core is at contending age. Pasternak, McAvoy, Swayman, the Lindholms, and then obviously not brothers, but Elias and Hampus and
yep.
Nikita Zadorov is signed. And people can laugh at that all they want, but like those guys aren't going anywhere. So, you know, if that was the case and you got Barzal to plug in your lineup right now, and then you had 16 and 17 to put in your prospect pool as high-end guys, I could see them doing it. I do want them to make the 7th pick, but I guess I'm okay with that. If it's Barzal and 17 and 16, I'm okay with that. What's up?
The only thing it may remind Bruins fans is that in 2015, they
Oh
could have
boy, here we go.
they could have Barzell at 14, 15, or 16.
Yeah, I know.
Did he go at 17, 18, or 19? Like I was screaming from the rooftops. Like I desperately wanted Kyle Connor in that draft. Like
I know.
and fell in love with Barzell in the sense that the way he played the game. But your next 3 picks after you went Zaboral, DeBrusque, and Senyshyn.
Senyshyn. Yeah.
Yeah, it was Connor, Barzell, and Thomas Chabot. Like if you went those 3, holy.
I know.
But I would do, and I think you're correct, right? Like you have a contending core. Your defense and goaltending, in theory, should be will improve next year. You don't have high-end offensive talent. Now, is Matthew Barzell top-end second-line center? Like if he does, right? Like if he can produce offensively without having to carry the mail defensively against another team's, top line, yeah, that's probably what you want. But to automatically put him on a power play with Pasternak and McAvoy, like
Friendell to Chicago. So that makes it interesting. I mean, that's kind of expected, but Friendell comes off the board here. And now, like, again, for me, like your best available are Martone and Hagens. If one of those can fall, that's great. And then, where's Desnoyers going? I don't know. But back to what you were saying, like, if you did get Barzal, because the Islanders have to be working the phones now. Frank Saravalli put out today that that they want Hagens. They want to use those 16 and 17 picks to get back in and take James Hagens. And I would assume it starts now with Utah at 4. Like, but if they called you instead, the Bruins, like,
well, me. Like
they call you. Matthew Darsh calls you. I mean, you guys are buddies. Maybe he does call you. He says, hello, girl. I guess if you
I saw you on the Bruins beat. Can you pick up the phone?
That's right. Maybe he'll jump on with us. Maybe we can get him to jump on. But I guess like my point, like if you did get Barzal, Lindholm would be your matchup based center who you're hoping can live up to that and also produce. And Barzal would be your offensive guy, and those are your top 2. And you don't really have a number 1 center out of those 2, but like you could sell me on that. If I don't know if New York would do this because that seems a little bit much for them. But yeah, 16, 17 and Barzal for 7. Okay, I would do.
So would you do that? So down the middle, would you go Lindholm, Barzal, Middlestad? Like, or are you like what do you do there in your third line?
Well, then you get into
you give Trent Frederick $32 million to come back.
That's right, exactly. An 8-year deal. I guess if I'm doing that, I'm either putting Middlestad on the wing, or I'm trading Middlestad and gaining cap relief. And you have one of Fraser Minton or Matt Patra as hopefully your third line center next year. You hope one of those guys sees the job, but that's probably what you do: Middlestad on the wing, or you trade Middlestad and get the cap relief, and which they don't need any extra cap space. But
so what do you do restricted for Beecher? Because like you said, Beecher is an effective win faceoffs, good penalty killer. What is he? What do you do with him?
I don't know. I think you qualify him at a low price. I don't know what the price is. You also have Kastelik. Like Kastelik's probably your 4th line center. And Beecher can jump in and do draws, but like I'll be honest, like, and no one wants to really hear Johnny Beecher talk right now, so I'm not gonna dive too deep into it. But like, there were a
Okay.
lot of times I didn't notice him last year. Like there were a lot of games where you just didn't notice him. And so again, he's going to need to improve. The speed is there, and the faceoffs are certainly there. It's just upping that, noticeability, upping that compete, all those things. So, but yeah, I mean,
I
what were you gonna say?
interrupt your top 12 now.
No, that's fine. You could do that. It's
Okay.
the point of this. It's not I talk, you talk. We can go back and forth. I have after Jake O'Brien, I have Brady Martin. I also could see his name being called tonight for the Bruins. I'm curious to see if Utah takes him right now. He's a Bruin, but I have a lot of questions with him. The offensive ceiling is one. Mark Diver brought this up to me. It's a great point. He's crushing everybody in junior. Does that automatically translate to the NHL? He is 6 feet. And people say, oh, Sam Bennett. Sam Bennett took a long time to become the Sam Bennett that we know now, who just signed, by the way, an 8x8 in Florida. So no Sam Bennett rumors in Boston. Number 9, Roger McQueen. I like the player. I like the ability. I'm with you, though. The back scares the hell out of me. And that's why I think if he gets drafted tonight, that's going to be a lot of what we talk about is like, that's a pick that if that does not go right, Sweeney's probably gone. And I think if they make the 7th pick and it is a complete bust and they miss on their seconds and they miss in other spots, it probably spells the end for the front office anyway. I know a lot of people think Sweeney's invincible, and I know there are going to be a lot of comments like that tonight, but in most front offices, yeah, if you bungle the 7th pick and then don't really hit on a lot of your others through the rest of the draft, and we won't know this next year either, by the way. Like, we're not going to know whether or not these guys hit next year. It'll be a couple years from now. But McQueen's a huge risk, but there's very high upside too. Victor Eklund at 10, just like Frindell, played in the Allsvenskan. They played on the same team, had great production. I don't want to say undersized. I think he's like 5'11", right winger. I like him. Again, like I don't like him at 7, but I like him if they ended up with like the
16, 17.
12th pick or 13th pick or 14th, like I would be in on that. Radim Murka, I read today from Corey Pronman that the Bruins were in on him. Kind of scares me. I don't want him at 7. I don't. You can get a big right shot defenseman in the 2nd round. You have 2 2nd-round picks. That's what that should be for. Let a team lower in the 1st round or lower in the order take him. And then Jackson Smith, left shot, 6'3" defenseman. You like him a lot. Good skater. Offensive play driver, all those things. So that's my top 12, Baron. That's our whiteboard. That's the whiteboard we're going with. So it'll be interesting. Now, again, like Frindell's off the board. Mark, for you, like your best available right now, your best is clearly Hagens, Martone, and then obviously like Desnoyers, O'Brien, Martin. So, we've got there's obviously a lot of great players left because we're only 3 picks in. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, it gets interesting, right? Like, I don't know. Like,
Utah's pick is in, by the way. By the way, this is Brady Martin, this changes a lot of the draft order because then Desnoyers is going to fall. Hagens could potentially fall. Who else is there? Martone. So, like, this is a big one for Utah. I'm very curious in the direction they're going.
Yeah, I'm stuck here too, right? Like at 7 in the sense that, and I don't know if you've swayed me having the conversation. Like there is a core there that's in a competing mode, and you don't want to waste David Pasternak's prime, like because that's one of the best players in the National Hockey League, right? Like to be able to produce what he produced last year without a supporting cast. If someone comes and has a good offer for that number 7, I think I want them to take the offer. I don't know what it is, right? Like,
yeah, it's got to be a good one though. If it's 16 and 17 for 7, I'm out. I am out. Just
it's got to be, it's got to be a top 6 offensive player, right? Like that.
By the way, I'm scrolling Twitter. People are making fun of the NHL draft process because they have like the player. I haven't watched it intently. I just have it on the side here. But like the player walks up to the screen and the GMs are there and they like talk to them and people are like memeing it out, which like makes sense. It looks really awkward. It's just funny to see people making fun of it on Twitter.
Yeah. You wish from like you wish from a marketing standpoint, and they're on the screen right now. They're showing Rick DiPietro as one of the Islanders' first overall picks. What like an amazing goalie that Rick was. Had the opportunity to play with him at Sebs and BU, but you wish from a marketing standpoint that National Hockey League could do a better job representing their players. I think there are just so many missed opportunities. What I think is a great game to highlight it a little bit better than they do. And right, like I'm not on Twitter seeing the memes or whatever that is, but that's it. The game of hockey is an unbelievable game, and it deserves to have a larger fan base. That's all. Can they do a better job?
Oh, Caleb Desnoyers. It's Caleb Desnoyers going to Utah. All right. So this is kind of going chalk so far. This is going kind of how like the rankings have been for months. Like Desnoyers has been the fourth guy. What do you think? I know you're not huge on Desnoyers. I'm assuming you don't love this pick at 4.
I think it's a safe pick, right? Like you're betting on, right? Like he's probably going to go back to the Q next year. Hopefully, well, not hopefully, I would imagine has a role with Canada's World Junior team. Will be an offensive driver for what will be a great team again, I would assume in Moncton. And for me, and this is, I'll be honest, I only saw him play like 4 times, and this isn't live, but I think Moncton and Rimouski played in the Q finals, and then they played in the Memorial Cup. And at the Memorial Cup, I didn't see the separation. For me, he's obviously right. Like you talk about the things that he can do, has a high IQ. He does play a 200-foot game, which is, as an 18-year-old is difficult. So that you can slot him in as your number 3 center, and he's going to have a role for you. And right, like Utah's got some good younger players, right? Like Keller and Logan Cooley.
And...
yeah. So, what am I missing? Like Dylan Gunther there too, right?
I think, yeah. And they just got JJ Peterka from Buffalo.
Yeah.
So like the way it's shaping out. So we'll do this. Nashville's coming up, Philly's coming up. My guess is they both go center. So I think my guess would be at number 7, you're going to be between Martone and one of Hagens, O'Brien, Martin, and McQueen. Or 2 of, excuse me. Like Martone and then 2 of Hagens, O'Brien, Martin, and McQueen. I think it's 7. Because I think Nashville and Philly are likely taking centers. I want to get into that in a bit. But first, let that percolate for a bit, Carl. We can let's look at the board, see everything we need to see. But first, I want to give a shout out to our good friends over at Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best way to get action on sports in more than 30 states, including California, Texas, and Georgia. The best place to win cash while watching sports. Join millions of users and sign up today. The best thing, you can mix and match your player projections from different sports. Combine your favorite basketball players with players from baseball, hockey, esports, and much more. It also keeps baseball more interesting, more fun, enjoyable. And PrizePicks offers Venmo, Apple Pay, MasterCard, and more for quick and easy deposits into your account this sports season. Don't miss Taco Tuesday, Flex Friday. You get Taco Tuesday, you get discounted projections on the board, usually by 15 to 25%. And Flex Friday, make sure you opt in and tap the checkbox in your lineup builder to be eligible for the protected play. Choose squares from any game on the board. And if your lineup does not win, you get your net losses back in promo funds to your promo limit as soon as the lineup settles. So download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. Run your game over at Prize Picks. Run on over to Prize Picks.
I think Martin.
What are you thinking?
I think Martin's going to go in one of these next 2 picks.
Interesting.
I think that Philly really wants to draft him if they could.
He makes sense. You made the case earlier for those who are joining, and more people are going to join now because the Bruins are about to pick and they want to vent when they inevitably hate the pick, which I get. You made a good point about Philly.
Yeah, I just don't like you have Zegras, Michkov. I don't see them going a smaller center. That doesn't fit their identity of who they've been and who they are. I mean, I could see a scenario where they take Martin or they take Porter Martone and put him on the wing with someone. But I do, right? Like, this is Nashville has enjoyed the national development program. I could see them taking Hagens here. If
Nashville, by the way, also
hold
has
on to
Teddy
your phone,
Stiga.
right? Like, and I have no inside information. I have not talked to Matthew in about a month, right? Like, obviously he's been really busy. But hold on to your phone. If Hagens is still available at 7, that'd be interesting.
Because I think they would overpay. Because I saw a report today, I think it was from Frank Saravalli, that, or it might have been Cam Robinson, it was one of the two, that the Islanders owner will say yes to any deal that gets them James Hagens. So like we said earlier, 16 and 17 in Barzal for 7 would be an overpay by the Islanders. I would take that because that fulfills your needs now and that fulfills your needs in the future. Like, you'd have to be insane not to take that, but I just don't think that's realistic. But maybe it is. Maybe it is realistic.
Yeah, it depends like how much they want the homegrown talent if Hagens is available there at 7. I don't know what else they would have to offer as a player. Like, the Bruins are not. I wouldn't imagine that 16 and 17 is going to be enough. I don't know the Islanders prospect pool outside of Yzerman, right?
Yeah, they acquired Cal Ritchie from Colorado. That was a player that I kept saying, oh, if Marchand's healthy and you trade him to Colorado, you better be getting Cal Ritchie in return. So
is it right? Like, is it Cal Ritchie in 16 and 17? Is it Barzal? Because
I don't think that's enough. That's not enough. Ritchie's not enough.
Okay,
because Ritchie's a former, I think it was 24th overall pick. Not that that matters, but I mean, that's a lower first rounder anyway, and he's been good. But yeah, I mean, if it's you, I tweeted earlier, you're gonna have to knock my socks off to get 7 if Hagens is available still. But I've said all along, I don't think Hagens slips past Nashville because Nashville needs a high-end skill guy like that. They need a center, and it's not the only reason. It's not even the main reason, but they have Teddy Stiga's draft rights, and like if you're projecting out, Teddy Stiga and James Hagens have been line mates forever now. So, and they've had a lot of success. I'm not saying that that's automatically going to translate to the NHL because that's not how it works, but it's a teeny little incentive. I texted Teddy and I said, would you like that? And he goes, that's the dream. So we'll see.
I don't know if you can tell, but I'm watching live stream on ESPN and they're talking to the Islanders front office. Why is it not in why aren't they in person?
I don't know. What, the Island? You mean the Predators front office?
No, I see it on the live stream right now.
Oh, because they're at the desk for me and the Predators. Like, the pick is in. I'm very curious who this pick is, but yeah, I mean, it's a weird. They're doing this. This draft is weird. Like, go back to Vegas. Go back to the Sphere. That was so cool last year. This is like, it's like you're talking to the TV. Like, I don't like that.
Well, is selection coming up right now?
Yeah. But they again, they don't they have like a person like Shea Weber's announcing it. It's so weird.
This is like bizarre. Like, why couldn't you do it in person?
He's on a golf course. Shea Weber's on a golf course. He's out golfing.
Why don't you want to generate buzz for the city of Los Angeles? Like, get them excited. I don't know.
All right, I'll spoil it because it was spoiled on Twitter.
No, don't do it.
Brady Martin's going. Brady Martin's going to Nashville. All right.
Oh man,
that's big. That's different. I didn't expect that.
Brady Martin. I just told you he was going to the next 2.
Well, next 2, yes. So now, all right. Now we got a situation brewing. We got a situation, right? Yeah. You got Philly, and then you got you.
Yeah.
You're gonna have your choice of 3 of Martone, Hagens, O'Brien, and McQueen. Those are the likely, I would say those are likely ones. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm running to this. Like, if the Islanders don't blow me away, I'm running to the stage for Hagens. I really don't see, right, unless what they're talking about in Philly is best player available. And I think that Hagens is best player available, and you just take him and see what happens from there. I don't think it fits their identity. I think it would be right, like obviously Danny Brière's there, someone that played with a ton of skill, maybe transition away from what they've been, but that has never been their identity, and that would be a smaller group up the middle that probably lacks true defensive grit. Is that the area? Is that the trend that they want? If Hagens is available at 7 for Bruins, I'd do it.
Oh my! I'll say this, and I've held true to this. If they have a chance to get Hagens at 7, you absolutely take James Hagens. Oh my God! Don't overthink it. Don't overthink it. I like, and again, I don't see how Philly doesn't take him. But again, now like maybe there's been a lot of Philly Jake O'Brien talk. There's been a lot of could Philly take McQueen? Like they have centers, so they want to take a big swing. It's very possible the Bruins could get James Hagens. I can't believe. So funny story, and I'll repeat this. What? No, continue.
No, I just gonna say I'm with Ryan M. Hagens or Martone. Sign me up all day for those two. But sorry, yep. I want to hear the story.
What I was gonna say was, and I'll retell this when we react to the pick if it's James Hagens. But Pat Donnelly and I did a photo shoot with James Hagens in the fall around BC for our magazine and a New England Hockey Journal. And interestingly enough, I kind of joked like, haha, imagine if you ended up in Boston, like, getting drafted. And we all kind of laughed like, that's not happening. Like, no way. And there's a chance. Like, there's a big chance now. Like, that's huge. I don't want to get myself excited because I still think Philly takes him, but the dominoes are falling your way. All for them. If they take McQueen over James Hagens
or Porter Martone, right? Like,
yeah, I would rather. I have Martone ranked above Hagens, but I would take Hagens if you're the Bruins because it fills a need more. And like Martone's not playing center. Hagens at least is a center, and if you move him to the wing, whatever. But like Martone is not playing center. So if Hagens goes to Philly here, I'd probably. Like, I'd want Martone, but I'd be totally fine with O'Brien. Like, I'm fine with that.
I think the comparable, and you do like a Bruins comparable, right, is David Krejci, right? Like some of the controls a game, makes teammates around him better, right? Like, and I think I said this to you before. Wasn't as successful at U17 and or Ivan Holinka last summer, so. But had a huge year in the OHL, right? Like a 96 points, 94 points. Like obviously a offensively talented player that is going to dictate pace of play by the way that he moves the puck. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting. I don't know if like it's not recency, but like region bias. The idea that I've seen Hagens so much.
I think a lot of people around here feel that way.
Yeah, like versus Porter Martone. Like Porter Martone made World Juniors for Canada as an underage draft eligible. He didn't play a lot, but still it says so much about like the player that he is to be considered. Like Michael Misa didn't make the team. Yeah, like not that I'm torn. I guess what I'm really hoping for is that the Islanders call the Bruins if Hagens is available, and right, like that Barzell and 16-17 for number 7. I like that'd be. I'm torn between Hagens and Martone. I certainly am. That is like.
I would go Hagens over Martone, but if they like, I want Hagens more. But if they did it, it wouldn't be as bad as if they went McQueen over Hagens. Charles Barkley, by the way, is announcing the pick for Philly, which is anything with Charles Barkley, I'm for. So I'm cool with that.
Don't ruin it for me. I've got it on.
Where are you at? I don't want to ruin it, but
he's just talking right now.
Okay.
He's just moved his arm, so I have no idea. Like, just make the pick.
Yeah, he's just rambling with Gary.
Yeah.
But I'm very curious. This is so interesting.
I am like I feel like St. Mark's is playing Rivers. My heart's beating here. Corner Martone.
Martone. All right. They
Oh
can get James Hagens.
Go.
They can get James Hagens. Holy crap. Oh my God. All right. So now we're cooking with gas.
Oh, man.
All right. James Hagens could be a freaking Boston Bruin. James Hagens could be a Boston Bruin.
You know what that means? That means
they're not going to take him. That means they're not going to take him. Oh, if they don't take him, I'm going to crash out. As the kids say.
Man.
Oh my God. So you're all right. You have Hagens, O'Brien, McQueen. They're taking Hagens. They have to. Savior Cross says they'll draft a random. Watch. If they draft a random, this stream is over. No show.
Oh, this is awesome.
God, if they take James Hagens, like it's there. It's right there. I know people. Emrak says he's not that excited about Hagens. People are excited about James Hagens. Was the consensus #1 pick in the fall. People go, well, he fell, doesn't it? He fell because he didn't have the same year as Will Smith. I guarantee you next year he's going to have like 60 points with BC. I do. And people are saying, oh, he's in the backyard and stuff. But I'm taking Hagens here, man. I'm taking Hagens.
So the only thing, right, like to consider is, right, like the way that the Panthers have won has been a bigger physical style of game, right? Like, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you Hagens is going to be a #1 center, but I think he's going to be a very good #2 center that puts up 60 to 65 points on a consistent basis. And you need those type of high skill players that can play, right? And the game's always changing, right? Like it's a copycat league, and someone will win a different way So I guess, right, like this is my point. Do they go bigger with McQueen to try to match what Florida has done? Right, like I think O'Brien's 6'2" as well. So do they go the bigger center? I just think you're in a really good position right now to call the Islanders and see what they want.
So you want that? Would you rather have the Islanders completely overpay for this pick than take James Hagens?
If the offer is right, like I think, like if you get a top 6 player, whoever, I don't know who that might be from the Islanders, right? Like what we've talked about on here is Barzal, and I think, if you could go #1, #2 center plus 16 and 17, where you in theory could still get a center, you could get a right shot defenseman there later in the first round. I think you do that versus what potentially could be, right? Like Barzal is, what would that make him? 28 right now, 27, 28. But if they make the pick, they've got to take. I think they take Hagens.
To me, like
and DJ Chips, like I agree with you. Like I want skill. Like there is no, like I'm 5'9". I don't think I ever hit anyone in my life. Like I want to play with the puck. I want to play. What I'm saying.
They should be sprinting. The pick should already be in. But I guarantee you, Carl, they're on the clock. It's going to run down to 0. I guarantee they're on the phone with the Islanders. That's not inside information, but I guarantee you, like they're calling.
No, but and they should be doing that, right? Like they should be doing their due diligence to reach out to a team that is desperate for Hagens, right? Like and see what they can get. Like they should be doing that.
People are mostly excited in the comments. If this is Hagens, this is going to be a big. If this isn't Hagens, it's going to be a big letdown. I will say, I did call this. I called it back in October. I said back when Jeremy Swayman's contract negotiations were going south, I said trade him to San Jose, get the first pick, and take James Hagens. And it didn't happen like that, but there's a chance James Hagens becomes a Boston Bruin. Like I'm sticking with that, but I'm what's the word? I am
cautiously optimistic.
Refreshing Twitter. No, I was trying to say upload Twitter, but I'm refreshing Twitter to see, because again, this pick's going down to the wire. I mean, Like,
I've just put it on ESPN. I'm not going to switch back to you because like every time I re-switch it pauses me. So I just think you couldn't have asked for anything better if you were a Bruins fan, because you're in a good position to get a great player or to make a trade that makes your team in the here and now better, and potentially, be able to add some prospects if you were to make the deal that we've been talking about. Not that that's the deal that's going to be made, but
it's going down. Like it's going down to the wire here on the clock. So I am curious if Gary comes out and says, we have a deal done. We have a deal done or something, which has not happened, by the way, which has not happened. But also, like, people are saying, like, and we've talked about this, like, you need guys to help the core now. James Hagens is back at BC likely next season. There's a chance he comes in March and could make an impact. Or maybe he does a year in Providence, then comes up. But, like, there's a real chance he comes in, makes, does the Ryan Leonard route, jumps right in, and works his way into the NHL that way. Like, that wouldn't shock me, especially if they're in contention. The pick is in. Carl, the pick is in.
Oh man.
I am actually like heart fluttering, nervous, like this is like
this is what I got to keep in mind. Whoever they pick, good player that's got an upside and it's going to be their top prospect. That's what I got to keep in mind.
No matter who. They got the camera on Hagens.
Oh,
it's gotta be Hagens. It's gotta be Hagens. Who's announcing the pick for them?
I don't know. It's a good group. Dennis Bonvie. All right.
Who's announcing the pick? They just announce it, Gary. This is killing me. Thank God I'm sitting down. I don't even want to look at the comment section because I don't want someone to ruin it.
I haven't looked at anything. I can't switch back.
Yeah, you're not. Who is it? Adam Sandler. All right, that's legitimate. I love that. I love that.
Is this live?
They got him. They got James Hagens. There it is. The Bruins have selected James freaking Hagens. I can't believe it. I cannot freaking believe it. They got him. They got Hagens.
Yep. What you got is, a potential first overall pick at number 7. Ton of talent. What I really appreciate about his game is that he's produced everywhere he's been. And
I can't. This is insane. I'm so excited. I'm not a fan. It's objective, but this is exactly what they need. A high skill centerman. Like, this is crazy. They got Hagens.
Yeah. Production matters. Production matters. 22 points at U18, crazy. 9 points at World Juniors on a gold medal winning team. Yes, it was a point a game at NCAA hockey, right? Like, not what you expected, but he was 17. He was 17 years old, playing one of the younger players in NCAA hockey, and like college hockey is not easy, right? Like, you just have become accustomed to Macklin Celebrini and Will Smith and those type of players having the years that they did. But I think you're right. Like, he goes back next year, he dominates, and is going to have some sort of impact at the end of next year for the Bruins. But you needed talent, you got talent, you did the right thing. Is he a number 1 center? I think
the comp with him growing up was always Jack Hughes.
Yeah.
It was always, but then it was also like Clayton Keller's a mention. Like, to me,
Logan Cooley's been a mention, right?
Yeah. Like, let's see. Yeah, William Nylander's another if he's a winger. I love this. I love this. I mean, this is what they needed. This is what they've needed. A high-end, high-skill, a guy that can, make guys around him better, that can make plays happen. Like, this is who you want. Like, you got, and Carl, I think you can agree with me. This is the best value you could get. And now he's talking to Cam Neely and Don Sweeney and Marco Sturm on the thing, the poor kid talking to the screen. But like, this is the best case scenario, I think, for 7. You got screwed by the ping pong balls. And all along, like you and I talked about, like Hagens is in the top 5 of these prospects. And when you fell to 7, it was like, you're not getting him. You're not getting Frendell at the time. Like, you're not getting Desnoyers.
Yep.
Now you're getting Hagens. Hagens fell to you at 7. Like
obviously they're comfortable with him. They've seen him. I would imagine the Bruins have seen him play quite a bit.
Like they got him.
And they got him. Yeah.
Like that's, like a team that's so devoid of talent and prospects and everything. And he doesn't fix every need, obviously.
No.
But he checks a lot of boxes. And I know he's not huge. Like I was talking to someone the other day who knows what they're talking about when it comes to hockey. And they were like, I'd steer clear of him. He's Will Smith light. I don't think that I don't agree. Like,
what does Will Smith light mean?
I mean, like, not like a lesser version of Will Smith. Like, I just disagree with that. I think James Hagens is fantastic. AMGM, Connor got it right, but guess who also got it right? I also got it right too. So there we go.
Congratulations, Evan.
Yeah, I picked it accidentally in October.
Did you? Okay.
Essentially, yes. But I have the clip. I can't tweet it out because I have the stream on my phone, and then I have I should tweet it out. Screw the stream. I'll tweet it out now. I have the clip. I can't believe it. That's so funny.
This is an interesting question by DJ Chips, right? Like, is it you make the pick and you still hold cards with Islanders if that's something that they want?
You could. It'd be hilarious if they traded him. If they turned around and traded him now, it's like we're cutting the stream off. Like, pretend I didn't react that way. All that.
Hagen's ceiling is Charlie Coyle level. Like, that's
no,
not even in the same. I think as far as pure skill skating, 2 completely different players. Yeah, like, I do think, like, if he's your third line center, you're in a good position because you're probably competing. This broadcast would be better if it was from La Cantina, no doubt.
I agree.
Yeah, they've got the outside tent now. They've got live music. I don't know if there's live music. Just for everyone, I'm in Framingham. Evan is not. We have fireworks tonight. So at about 9:00, there are fireworks here in Framingham. And Evan, this is the first night that pizza night at the Corazzini's has been interrupted by some
it's worth it for this.
Yeah.
It's worth it for this. I mean, again, like I said this before they drafted him, for people who are in for the first time now, there's a chance he comes in at the end of next year. And you don't rush it. Do not rush this. Like, there's no rush. But like, he could come in next year, at the end of next year, after his sophomore season ends. And that's what, be very afraid. You don't want to have a lot of pressure on him, but there is pressure on him. I think that's the thing where, like, you're drafted 7th. That pick is sort of looked at as like a franchise savior, whether or not that's right. And that's what he's going to have a lot of pressure on him. Like, it's just the nature.
Yeah. What would be more pressure for him? Right. Like, if the Islanders made a trade, right? Like, if you gave up either a prospect or a rostered NHL player and these 2 picks to go home, there'd be huge expectations of James Hagens there as well. I think this is a place that he's comfortable with. There certainly will be pressure in the sense that this is an original 6 team, but I don't think anyone sees this as a Connor McDavid. Then he's going to completely transform what the Boston Bruins are. He's a very good player that plays with a ton of skill, a ton of pace. Going to make the Bruins better, but it's not an overnight Stanley Cup contender. That
no, God no,
right?
God no. But what you hope, like, okay, let's play this game, right?
Yep.
Like Elias Lindholm is signed up for how much longer? Let me look. He's signed through 2029-30, and David Pasternak's also signed through 2029-30. And my hope is that James Hagens is up here by 2029-30. At any rate, you hope that someday Hagens can center Pasternak. Like DJ Chips just said it, Hagens to Pasta. Like that's what you hope.
Hey, but not Glenn. You're right. BC did not win the Beanpot this year.
Yeah, you love to say that. I have no dog in the Beanpot fight. I don't care who wins. I don't care.
UMass is not in the Beanpot, eh?
Beanpot. I grew up. Beanpot meant nothing to me.
What?
Nothing. My parents didn't go to like Beanpot schools. My dad went to St. Lawrence. Like my mom went to Fisher. I went to UMass. My sister goes to St. A's. There's no like nothing like pushing me to any Beanpot school.
I mean, I was 19 Paxton Road. Growing up,
you always dox yourself on here. It's so not where you live now, but where you grew up. I won't tell you where I live now, but 19 Paxton Road off of Central Street, right behind Framingham High School. And we used to have this hook as you walked out our door, and it was like for your hats. And I had a BC, BU, and Harvard one, and every day I'd put on a different one, and it was like I would play imaginary Beanpot games all day, every day. Like, do your homework from St. Tarcisius, run outside, get someone to play goalie for you, and just win Beanpots. That was it. That was the only thing I thought about. I didn't think about the Bruins. Just I wanted to play in the Beanpot. That was it. We have the clip, by the way, from October. You've never seen this. Here it is. This is us predicting James Hagens to the Bruins. Let's see if this works.
This draft. So if San Jose were to get the number one pick, they'd have Hagens, Smith, and Celebrini. Those are all number one centers or projected number one centers in the NHL. You cannot have one of those three guys be on your third line. Right. So again, you'd essentially be trading potentially James Hagens for Jeremy Swayman. And again, for those who don't know, James Hagens is, barring something crazy, is going to be the number one pick next June.
Would you trade? Would you trade if the Bruins get Swayman on a 1-year deal and they intend to trade him next year? Would you trade Jeremy Swayman for Jimmy Hagens?
Straight up,
yes. It's like San Jose has the number one pick and they draft him and they swap him for Swayman.
Yeah,
would do that
on a 1-year Swayman on a 1-year deal?
Yeah, with the expectation
things have gotten bad and things have gotten that bad. Yes. Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
I would. Maybe that's naive of me. Maybe that's the New England Hockey Journal in me. Maybe that's but I'm serious. Like that kid is that's your future number one center. That is your guy. Like that is everyone questions Lindholm being a number one center, Patra being a top 6 center, Letourneau, that whole situation. Hagens is a number one center in the NHL. Whether that's in 2 years, 3 years, like he is legit. And I mean, I think that's Jack Hughes. So to me, yes. Yeah.
So that was October.
So do you believe that? Do you believe, I mean, that's a gift. If you think he's a 75 to 85 point guy.
Well, again, I go back to that was October. That was pre-BC. So things have changed since then. I still look at him as number one center. Like I do. I do. He has that upside. He has that playmaking ability. Now, this is getting deep into the weeds, but is he going to go? How's he going to match up in the playoffs? He is under 6 feet. How is he going to match up with Alexander Barkov in the playoffs or Austin Matthews in the playoffs? That's all very legitimate. But what was your other way to get a number one center? Like you tried free agency last year. Maybe Lindholm boosts his production this year. That's absolutely possible. He had a good end of the year. He had a good Worlds a couple months ago. Like that's all great, but this was the way you were gonna do it, and they did it. They did it. They didn't overthink this pick. You're gonna hear a lot of people on TV, particularly one Michael Felger, who is gonna rip this pick apart, say it's them staying local, that it's bad, that he's small, that he's not, can't be physical, all these different things. They got their guy. this is the pick. Like, and again, like Seattle just took Jake O'Brien, and you look at who's on the board, right? Like, let's say Hagens doesn't pan out.
Yep.
Are we going to look back and say, like, you know, and obviously hindsight's 2020. We're going to go back and say, you know, if Jake O'Brien has a phenomenal career, oh my God, you didn't take Jake O'Brien. Oh my God, you didn't take Roger McQueen if he has a phenomenal career. But what I would also say is, like, James Hagens, I think widely was looked at as the best player available at 7, and they took the best player available.
Yeah.
Like, that's not nothing. That's not
No,
nothing.
I think that part of it you're excited about, right? Like in the sense that the best player on the board was available and you took him. It's not something typically, right? Like I think we've become accustomed at least with the Patriots, you've been accustomed like there's value and they trade back and right, like in 4 years you've had, what is it, 78 games out of your draft picks, right? Like that's not a great record. And to go out and get a player that at the floor, I think is a second line center. I think that's pretty good. I think that's really good. No, I take that back. I think that's really good. You took the best player available.
I mean, as you just said, the floor is, you know, a second line center, or he moves to wing and he's a second line left wing. And the absolute ceiling is he's your franchise number 1 center. Like he has those qualities. Again, Carl, like we talked about this before the season, or I think we did. We must have. Coming out of the national program, like if he was drafted straight out of the national program last year, he's probably what? I mean, who was one last year? Celebrini. So he's like what? He's definitely in the top 5, right? Like if this happened last year and he didn't have it, because again, I had a college coach tell me recently, and it's a very good point. College hockey is the great equalizer. College hockey allows you, when you're drafting a kid, to see the weaknesses because they're playing against older, stronger guys, right? Like nothing against the OHL. But when you're going up against guys who are 24 years old from UMass Lowell, are they as good as you? No. But Carl, you played college hockey, played for freaking BU. They'll take your head off. They'll kill you. Like these are guys who are physical, and like that you get to see weaknesses, and the weaknesses for Hagens are, you know, getting to high danger ice at times. He can be a little perimeter. I remember at the Beanpot, I didn't notice him a heck of a lot, which is a red flag for that time. But again, that moves you out of number 1. But if you can get that kid at 7, by God, you take that kid at 7. That's what I think.
No, I think you have to. First of all, like I can't believe we've gone this long. Jack Parker, Hockey Hall of Fame. Congratulations
to him.
Yeah, like that
was your coach. That was your coach.
Huge for him. Like you look at the players and the coaches that he's mentored. Like congratulations to Coach Parker. Yeah, college hockey, as I've said a few times, is not easy, right? Like, and the expectation that you're going to get the Jack Eichels and the Macklin Celebrinis that come in and put up 72 points as freshmen, like that's rare, and to have had the impact on his team, right, and to get him at 7, and I keep going back to it, right? Like you look at the draft from last year, it was the defenseman from Michigan State. I don't know how to say his last name. And then
I remember him.
Then it was Seneke, right? So he's probably in the top 3 if he just comes out of the national. So what you're asking, he just comes out of the national program where he put up 122 points or something along those lines, 115 points, and then he puts up 22 points at U18. He's probably in the top 3 last year, right? Like,
yeah.
Seneke, if you remember, right? Like Seneke was a guy, he gets drafted 3rd overall. He's like, what? Like I was drafted 3rd overall? Like that moment from last year's draft. So, yeah, I think this is as good as you could have, as good as you could have asked for.
Yeah, this is the best case scenario. Buffalo just took Radim Mertka, so McQueen's still on the board. I initially, my mock draft, I had Anaheim taking McQueen, so I would assume McQueen goes to 10, but I don't know, maybe the back thing makes him slide more. One other thing I want to circle back on, and this will go out as its own separate episode for people listening. We're not gonna like put it out on audio and stuff, just the part where they took Hagens and after. So maybe this happened, maybe it didn't by the time you're listening or you're watching. But would you be like, you mentioned this when Hagens first got drafted, you think the Islanders are still maybe trying to beat down the doors to make a trade, or no, you think that ship has sailed?
Well, I think as the Bruins, you control the situation, right? Like you have the player, If right, like, and I have no idea how it works at that level, right? Like, if the owner gets involved, and right, like you said, Saravelli said that the owner would agree to any deal. Is that what you said earlier?
That's what I saw. Yeah, that's what I saw.
So I think they're still going to at least have conversations. I don't think that it's. I don't know. I don't think it's a done deal at this point. I love the player. Love having skill and some speed, and more than anything, hockey IQ. But if you can make the Bruins a better roster by moving Hagens, then you have to explore all options at all times. Like, I think that conversation will be open for a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine that. I don't think they trade him. I think the Bruins realized they got lucky. They got lucky. They lucked out. I mean, they got completely lucked out. Like, I'm fine with keeping Hagens. Like, what's up, Court? I see Court in the comments. Hey, Court. Yeah,
I'm not saying I'm not excited. I'm excited about the player, but like, you're in that role as general manager. You're controlling. In both instances, right? Like, Islanders and Bruins. Like, Bruins an original 6, and Islanders that won 4 Stanley Cups in a row. Right, your job is to always explore how to make your roster as good as you can, and at least from that relationship from Islanders and the Boston Bruins, the Bruins have the player, and I would imagine that they would be open to hearing how they can make their team better.
Yeah, I mean, that absolutely could be the case. Sorry, I was tweeting something. So
no, yeah, DJ Chips. I'm excited about the player. I
keep him.
I would imagine they keep him. Like, they weren't able to work something out here before the draft, or at the deadline, the 5-minute time limit there, right? Like, what was that like? Like, you don't think the player's going to be there at 7, and then there's the option. Like, what do those phone calls look like? Like, how fast you get on the phone, and
yeah, I don't know. I mean,
interesting time. Like, is the behind the Bruin there, or behind the B? Is that what it is? Behind the B on Nesson? Like, get me on that. I want to see what that.
Someone just said, funny tweet, the Bruins internet was down and they were on auto draft. That would be the auto pick. You're right. I am curious to see the behind the B of it. I know they liked Hagens. Like, I just don't think they assumed he was going to be there. And we've seen them tied to him a little bit, but I just, for the last couple months, I never, like, up until the last week, I never would have ever thought James Hagens would be available at number 7. I just wouldn't have. Like, what? Like, and again, like, people I think are going to see this and go, oh my God, why did he fall? Why did he fall? Well, he fell because he didn't have the season at BC that Will Smith had the year before, or that Macklin Celebrini had at BU the year before, or that Adam Fantilli had at Michigan 2 years before. And like, that's all valid. And like, I can't say it enough. Like, there are weaknesses there, and they were exposed as a freshman. But I will also say this. That doesn't mean you don't pick him at 7. Like, 7 is a incredible value spot to get. And I'll say this, Carl. I was at UMass when Cale Makar was there. And I'm not comparing them. But Cale Makar came in as the 4th overall pick by the Avalanche. His freshman year, he was good. But he wasn't a world beater. He was good. Like, I think if you look back at his numbers, they were fine. And Colorado wanted him to go to UMass, to come out, to go to the Avs. But to Cale's credit, he was like, no, I'm staying at UMass. Cale stayed at UMass and had one of the best seasons ever. Like, Hobie Baker led them to a national championship game appearance, like, phenomenal. And that second year made all the difference for his career. I would not be shocked if James Hagens has a similar impact on BC in his second year. And suddenly we're sitting here going, holy crap, like, he can jump in and make an immediate impact, because all it took was that second year and it clicks. And I know people say, oh, he played with Gabe Perreault and Ryan Leonard this past year. And I get that. But he was still a late 06 He's still a late 06. He showed up to college as a 17-year-old. So, again, like, and I'll say this, if James, and I've been fair on Letourneau all year. Like Dean Letourneau, I've said all year, like, yeah, it's not great, but I'm not calling him a bust yet. So if James Hagens doesn't have a phenomenal year at BC, his sophomore, I'm not going to call him a bust. I'll say it like it is. Obviously, I like the pick. You can tell. And if he doesn't work out someday, then I will gladly, say that. But this is the best they could do at 7. And yeah, I mean, I don't like, people are like, oh, give Don Sweeney credit or whatever. Like, sure, I'll give them credit for picking him, but this fell in their lap. That's how I look at it. But also credit to them for making the pick and pulling the trigger.
Yeah, no, like best case scenarios was that James Hagens fell to this scenario. Like, and I think I keep banging this drum, like how hard it is to, and not the college hockey piece, but to produce when everyone expects you to produce. And right, like you look at Will Smith when they won World Juniors, he had 9 points. Right, like, and the expectations for James Hagens was that he was going to be the number one. Right, like I think at time of World Juniors he was not consensus number one pick, but like expectation that he was going to be the number one pick. Like Schaefer had been playing really well. And I think a product of Hagens falling, outside of the fact that, there are, right, like he's an 18-year-old kid, there are some defensive deficiencies. He is small. I think you've seen him play so much, right? Like played at World Juniors, U18s, like has been around the block. Like everyone, expectation that he was going to have the Will Smith, or not even Will Smith, but Macklin Celebrini type year. And he didn't. And that's why he fell. Like, but World Juniors, number one center on that team. And I think it was Leonard Perreault and him, like they led their team in scoring. Like on a team that went back to back for the first time ever. Like competing against your peers, he has a tendency to show up.
Yeah, no, he does. And again, like I've said this before, he was considering going to London instead of BC when he was looking at when the college recruitment process was going on, and he was going to kind of do the Patrick Kane route. He would have tore it up in the OHL this past year. Like I don't doubt that. And you look at the numbers he put up at the NTDP in under 18s, all those different things. They've been fantastic. So it's interesting. We have a scouting report here for James Hagens. Adam Herman, a Bleacher Report, is defining trade as his agile skating. He does have a good pace and open ice, but his standout quality is his ability to float on his blade edges. And wow, nice voice crack from me. And find pockets of space with effortless changes of direction and burst of acceleration. Hagens can go from a full sprint to an immediate sharp pivot without sacrificing any pace. He's the player you want carrying the puck through the neutral zone to beat a conservative forecheck, and he is tough to contain in the offensive zone as he usually finds ways to scoot out of pockets of pressure. We also have Connor Ryan reacting, which I'm not surprised. Connor predicted that they would pick Hagens earlier, and with me back in October. And he also says that number 7, James Hagens, is tremendous value for a Bruins team that needs high-end skill at the center position. This... we can't say, we'll say till we're blue in the face. This fills a need. This is exactly what they needed. Yeah, it's not going to be like next season, but could it be the season after? Potentially. I still can't believe it. I can't believe that this happened. Again, I go back to what I told you right before they picked him. I was at me and Patrick Donnelly, my colleague at New England Hockey Journal. We're doing a photo shoot with James at BC for our magazine, and jokingly we were like, haha, imagine if if you end up in Boston with the Bruins, and we all laughed, like thinking like no chance, no way, and then it ends up happening. So yeah, crazy.
It's crazy. What it is, he's by far your top prospect.
Anyone they would have picked. I mean, they could have picked McQueen, Merca.
Oh yeah.
They would have been your number one. But Hagens is.
And you're excited about. You're excited about having a high-end talent, someone that when they have the puck on their stick can make other players around them better, and opportunity to do something exciting. So I'm really excited that that's the route that they decided to go, right? In large part because you look at their roster this year, and we talked about this the last time that we were on the show. You're going to be watching a lot of 2-1, 3-2 hockey games this year, and to have someone that's in your system that not instant offense, but can create every time they're on the ice.
Yeah, DJ asks, like, you've met and talked to him. That's cool insight. Is he a cool kid? Yeah, he is. I've interviewed him 2 or 3 times. One was for a long profile I did on him in his U18 year at the program. One was in the bowels of Aganis Arena after they beat BU 9-3. This was in 2023. And then we did the photo shoot. So that was like an hour and a half. Walked all around. Really nice kid. To me, like, he has sort of a, it's not like, it's good cockiness. Like, it's confidence. He has confidence. There's sort of like, I'll read a quote from John O'Connor, who was his coach at Mount St. Charles, who's now an assistant at Maine, said, if he didn't play hockey, he could be a movie star. Like, he just kind of has that charisma. And I know, like, I'm praising him like crazy and whatever, but like, he does, like, honestly, like, has that charisma, has sort of that, like, almost that swagger you want out of a top guy. And so that's how I would describe him. From the times that I've interviewed him and from that photo shoot. But yeah, I mean, really, like, I mean, this is the guy, like, that's a big get. That's a big get. So do you, like, you're Carl, you're a huge player development guy.
Yep.
And we've touched on it a little bit. Yeah, Court, a little fanboy, but I'm just telling you my experiences, Court, just telling you my experiences. You're big in development. Obviously you've developed a lot of great talent. What do you want to see out of him in his second year? And what do you think what road do you think the Bruins should take in easing him in? Because as we said, he has a lot of expectations. There are high hopes. What do you hope that they do with him, the Bruins, once they get him? Whether it's after next year.
I would think. Yeah, I think probably two questions you asked there. Like, what are you hoping for from Hagens in year 2? It's really hard in the National Hockey League to make it as a pass first player. Like, that is really hard. There are few players that have been able to do that, right? Like Joe Thornton, one of the best passers of all time, right? Like Nicholas Backstrom, guys like that. I want to see in year 2 him to be more aggressive in creating his own shot. And I think you saw that a little bit in World Juniors too, right? Like, too deferential to Perreault and Leonard, right? Like, so I think that's what I'd want to see at BC. That doesn't mean, right, like you talked about, like 60, 70 point potential, or like he doesn't have the supporting cast that he necessarily would have had this year with Leonard and Perreault. But I want to see someone that looks to create their own shot more often. I think that's something that he's capable of doing to kind of round out that game, right? Like we've always, and we've had it, right? Like pass first guys and pass first guys at times, like, cause they're not going to shoot, they can be shut down. Right. So looking to attack, get their toe caps downhill, shoot. And then, like, as people start to honor that shot, then passing lanes that James Hagens can make even without space, right? Like now, right, like those fractions of seconds that he needs to be able to make that pass, those become available. So I think that's what I would like to see at BC next year. Be more of a goal scoring threat. I think what you would like to see at Boston. Yeah. If you're not in a position where you're in a playoff push, where you might need some added offense, like whether it be on the power play, you're probably going to put him at wing in that scenario because you're not going to ask him. All right. Like if he's coming into a playoff scenario next year, you're not going to ask him to play a 200-foot game against like Sasha Barkov. Like that's not something he's going to be able to do right away. But if you're not in a playoff scenario, I'd like to see him finish the year in Providence a little bit, like, right, like some of McAvoy had done, right? Like that was quick.
Yep.
That was quick, but I would like him to see him play some pro hockey in Providence, maybe play their playoff scenario down there, and then come in, that following year and be in a position where he's asked to produce from a second line perspective, right? Like the people that have talked right there, right? Like the two spots where it would have been, there'd be more pressure than any other would have been Boston and the Islanders, right? Like the two, right? Like where he ended up and where from his hometown. So there is added pressure on him in the sense that like people are familiar with him. You are an original 6 team. You don't need to rush it. Make sure that he's as successful as he can be at the pro game before he's ready to play in the National Hockey League.
Yeah, I absolutely. I think that's the biggest thing is like, do not rush him. Like we've talked a lot about how the core is not getting younger and they're hitting their primes. And so you do need help, but this is a guy who you're hoping you're infusing that core with, you're kind of building that next wave of talent around. I'm not rushing him. Like, if he kicks ass next year at BC and you want to see him in Boston, well, not with Boston, but with the Bruins, like at the end of next season, then fine. But, you have to play that by ear. If he has a good season next year, if he's, in the 40-point range, like, yeah, Providence would be the good spot for him. He's not huge. Like it is going to be an adjustment, but I also do wonder, like chip on the shoulders, legitimate thing. This is a kid who, presumptive number 1 pick for a long time. And then it fell away throughout the year. Is there, for falling to 7, is there sort of a chip on the shoulder throughout his career? And, the other thought I have is like, you think about how crappy this past season was, right? Like how just terrible the games were to watch and the lopsided losses. And you try to find silver linings. I think for Bruins fans, this is a silver lining. Like, this is a good pick. This is a really good pick. Like that's a great pick. And that's not to say it makes last season worth it. But if he turns into like the best case, which is Jack Hughes, or if he even turns into being a Clayton Keller or a Logan Cooley, just a really solid number 1, maybe number 2 center, you're pumped. You're pumped about this.
I'm pumped.
Like, how can you not be?
No, and then it sets up, right? Like you get Gavin McKenna next year and then Carter Meyer the year after that.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
You should be building, talk about a 1-2-3 down the middle. That's perfect.
Yeah.
Well, I always say the Bruins have, the Bruins have 2 first rounders in 2027. Carter Meyer, easy. They can get Carter in that first round. I think
exactly
can make it work. We can clip this 2 years down the road that Carl and Evan picked Carter Meyer for the Bruins. For those who don't know, Carter Meyer played at Rivers. I covered him for a while, played against Carl a number of times, just made the national program and was their best player at evaluation camp. So should be a high-end kids from Winchester. So really, really good player. But yeah, I mean, so they take Hagens and that's huge. We can't say it enough. We've stated what we want the Bruins to do, what we want him to do at BC. How he can fit in the lineup. I mean, next to Pasternak's not a bad place. Or next to Mitch Marner. I'll bring that back up. I'm kidding. I'm not going down that route right now. I'm not doing that. So people are asking, like, who do you have for pick 51? And I think it's pick 62 in the second. Names, I can pull up some names for you. I think the big thing is you do need a big right shot defenseman. There are a number of those guys that are going to be there. Carter Miko is one of them. Carter Miko is from here, from Maine. So that's terrific. If you want to go him, he's had some knee issues in the past. So I don't know if they want to go down that route, but there's others as well. And then I would also say like best available. If that's a wing, like great. If that's a center, terrific. But that's the kind of player I'm targeting. What about you?
Yeah, I don't think at second round you go best available. Like outside of the first round, I have no idea who might be available. But yeah, I think you would look at a right shot defenseman, someone that could replace a Brandon Carlo type. And I think if you can add to your center depth as well, I think that's an area, right? Like a potential Will Moore, right? Will Moore, right? Like
Yep.
a bigger center out of the national program that can play heavy, but that's a name that comes to mind for me. But that's definitely, I'm not as attuned to who the prospects that might be available in the second round.
I have some up for people who are interested and wondering about it. I'm looking at Corey Pronman's complete draft ranking. So this is not like by team, but like at 51, Theo Stocksielis from Djurgården in, I believe, Sweden. Stocksielis was quite good at the Swedish junior level this season as a top scorer on a top team. 6'2", 181 left shot center. He's a skilled big man who excels at creating offense around the net in small areas. He has shown the talent to score and generate chances at the junior level. There are reasonable questions about how his game will fare against better players. His skating isn't the best. It's actually below average, according to Corey Pronman. With a somewhat heavy stride, while he's good at using his big body to create space for himself around the net, he's not overly physical, and his off-puck compete can be an issue. He projects as a useful depth forward for a team. So that, again, like that's the kind of player you're getting there. But the Bruins have been pretty good with second-round picks in the past. Patra, low rise. So, like, they should get
Brandon Carlo,
like they should get, that was really the savior of that 2015 draft for them.
Yep.
They should get at least one like legit lineup guy, and hopefully for their sake, a second. Again, I'm looking through right now, like in terms of defensemen, there's a guy named Mans Goos, MANS space GOOS. He's 6'5", 190. He was at the Swedish J20 level. His skating's below average, but he has an average hockey sense. So that's
not good.
Someone. That's not great, but big defenseman. There's Max Sinica. Max Sinica played with Portland this year. Sinica is an athletic defenseman. He skates very well for a 6'5" defender. His mobility and ability to make stops allowed him to play pro games at the top level in Czechia. Before coming over to the Dub mid-season, he didn't stand out at that level as some would have hoped, though. The question on Sinica will be offense. He doesn't have a ton of skill or offensive IQ in his game, although he has a good point shot and can make a decent first pass. His game's a little bland, but he's talented enough for his size to potentially get NHL games. There are a couple other big defensemen around this like range. Kurbin Lemidov from Russia. So I don't know. I mean,
the only thing I would say there,
get a big defenseman, and then get best available.
Yeah, the only thing I would say there, right? Like hockey IQ is hard to work on, right? Like you can the physical tool sets, like. And we try as hard as we possibly can at St. Mark's to like put the kids in as many situations so they can think the game for themselves. But that it's hard. I think the one thing you would want to see is someone with high hockey IQ, because someone with a high hockey IQ, the game, right? Like regardless of the way they skate, they can move the puck and anticipate and move into those open spaces. So they play the game faster, even though they might not necessarily be physically faster. And if you're looking for someone, right, like in whatever their junior team to work on the hockey IQ when they're their team's like best players, that becomes hard. So I'm looking at someone that would be high hockey IQ and high compete. Yeah, that's someone that I want. Now, if those fit like defensive or right wing center, like sign me up for someone with high hockey IQ and high compete.
That's as good. That's awesome if you can get that. I want to also.
And they're probably not in the second round, right?
That's true. I do want to direct people. If you're watching this on YouTube, go subscribe to Bruins Rinkside on YouTube. Subscribe for all our great content. Obviously, Bruins Beat, Poke the Bear, Pucks with Hags. And if you like it, if you don't like looking at us for some reason, you just watch it via audio. Go subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from. And then obviously there's Celtics All Access, Patriots Press Pass on YouTube. Go subscribe there as well. And then obviously our great friends over at Prize Picks. This wouldn't be possible without them. Prize Picks invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit, PrizePicks also puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my picks hit, I can get my money in as quick as 15 minutes. App's super easy to use. To create a lineup, all you have to do is pick more or less on a few player stats for your shot to win up to 2,000 times your money. And of course, PrizePicks offers Venmo, Apple Pay, MasterCard, and more for quick and easy deposits into your account this sports season. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That is code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game. Run your game over at PrizePicks. Matt, Matt's right. I'm fine looking at Carl, but I don't know about Evan.
Philly's going back to their identity, right? Like they want Martone and then Jack Nesbitt. Like
they take Nesbitt?
They must have traded. I thought Pittsburgh had 11 and 12.
Oh, first, right? Yeah. So Flyers got 12 and the Pittsburgh got 22 and 31. So I get what Pittsburgh's doing because Pittsburgh picked at 11 and they're like, well, we need two more. We need more first rounders. They're barren prospect wise. So I get why they did that. But yeah, Jack, you like Jack Nesbitt a lot. Like you were high on him.
Yeah, I don't think I had him in the top 12, did I? But I had mentioned him as a potential, as like that next grouping of players. You just look, right? Like you understand that it is, right? Like when you get into this scenario, I think it was right when Burke and Anaheim won in, was that 06, 07, and they were a large
07. Mm-hmm.
They were a large team, and everyone tried to copy that for a while, and right, and then things got a little bit quicker with Chicago and that stretch, and you had Duncan Keith and Kane and Taves, so everyone tried to match that. Now, like, right, like Florida's won with a 200-foot physical forechecking type of game, and I think that's Nesbitt is a player that fits that style. And Philadelphia looks like they're trying to get back to what their historical identity is, and play along the wall, win your battles, and get to the net.
Yeah. Apparently, so the Islanders draft party got really sad when James Hagens was taken by the Bruins, which is hilarious. I think it's good for him that he's not in Long Island. That's a lot of pressure. Like your hometown and stuff. Like it would have been. I imagine he probably would have liked that. He said, "I grew up an Islander fan," but someone said James Hagens says on ESPN that he could play in a lot of places next year. Sounded like he said he wanted to go back to BC, but wants to talk to Bruins management first. Yeah, I mean, I didn't see that clip, but it makes sense. My guess is they're going to want him to go back to BC. Like, you're not rushing that. There's no rush to get him. You have him in your backyard here. I don't think that you're doing that. I
think from a development standpoint, that would be worst case scenario, right? Like trying to have him come in and play in Boston, right? Like for not for me, but right, like where he was with the number one overall aspirations, right? Like underwhelming year. Allow him to play in every scenario. I think there was a stat out there this year where he only played like 18 penalty kill shifts for the year. Allow him to play in all the scenarios for Greg Brown at BC. Like ask him to, be more of a goal scoring threat. Like you want him to learn those things at BC. You don't want to have him move up and down like Poitras did. And not that they're the same type of prospect, but you want it to be as much as a seamless transition and learn the game at BC as opposed to trying to learn the game at, for the Bruins.
Yeah. I also like, Poitras, they sort of rushed. Letourneau, not that it was their call, but went to BC before, he should have been in the USHL. Take your time with this. Take your time, go at his pace. This is, my prediction is we look back at this and go, that's a steal at 7. That's a huge steal. And I don't blame the teams above them for not taking him. Like Nashville went Brady Martin. They want an identity. And Philly goes with Martone. They want a big guy on the wing. Like I get that. Utah goes Desnoyers. My guess is that's going to be one we look back on and go, I don't know about that one. Going so high. I didn't initially, he was projected there, but still, like I was sort of surprised by that now. Chicago goes Frendell, not surprising. Misa, Schaefer, so Hagens, that's it's a steal. They got lucky. It's a lot of things, but they have a guy that's a legit guy. Development camp, by the way, is next week, Monday through Thursday.
You going?
So
Yeah, I'll be there every day. I was going to be there no matter what. But the
Maybe
Hagens element is a big part of it. It's a big
maybe
part
I'll
of
bring
it.
Fulton on Monday.
Yeah, I think there will be a lot of fans. I would assume there are going to be a lot of fans there because, I mean, that's, and they're going to have their 2 seconds most likely, and you have the rest of your draft picks. But Hagens is the draw. That's a big pick, man.
It's great for them.
I
think it's great for the organization. I think it's great for the fan base. I think you have someone that you are excited about that has a lot of talent, that has been productive at every level, and when he comes in and is in the Bruins lineup, he's going to be productive.
I mean, again, you project him out. I think it's somewhere in the middle of the ceiling and the floor. I think most people are like that. But if he's your 1C with Pastrnak and whoever on the left in 2 or 3 years, that's not bad. And Lindholm potentially slides into sort of a matchup role. Because again, we're going so far in the future, but bear with me for a second. If in 3 years, let's say, he's your 1C and you're in the playoffs against Florida or Toronto or whomever, and you're home, you're probably not putting Hagens up against Barkov or Matthews or those guys. That's where maybe Elias Lindholm does come into play, where Lindholm can take those. Now, when you're on the road, that's going to be tougher. Especially early in his career. Those are wicked matchups, but those are good learning experiences at the very beginning of his career too. So I see the value in that as well.
Yeah, I think it'd be interesting to see what they do in free agency too, right? You talk again about development, having him on the power play with Pastrnak, with potentially matchups, having him especially early on, having him in that third line center role where he can be creative, but not have necessarily have to do to the defensive side of things early on in his career. That would be great too.
Carl, it's funny, we didn't get to do playoff streams.
No.
And then when we didn't do any streams this year. We did podcasts and it was all kind of crappy things, this, that. This felt good. This felt good.
No,
this is something. This was something.
This was fun. This was as exciting as it could have been. Fell the way that, right? I think we said earlier, the 2 people that I would have been really excited about was Martone and or James Hagens. Not again, all young kids that certainly have things that they do really well. I just felt in the position that the Bruins were picking, if those 2 players fell to them, and when it came down to it, and Martone and Hagens, at least at 6-7, were still there. It was I got the same thing. You got a little flutter, Emma, obviously a lifelong Bruins fan, and you're excited for them.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is, again, I'm not a fan of the team or anything, but I'm happy that this is what they needed. This is what they needed. I like Hagens, so let's see, matches the Pasta OT goal for me in excitement. Absolutely. The Swayman rumors we can touch on another time. I don't think anything's happening with that. Dominic, I get it. It's a great topic, and we'll probably talk about that this week. But Hagens is the thing now, and we'll wrap it up now because we've been on for almost 2 hours. So, Carl, thank you for. Well, not DJ. I'm not a fan because I'm media. I can't be a fan. I grew up a Bruins fan. I don't hide that. But I have to put that to the side. I have to be a little objective. But am I excited they picked Hagens? Yeah, I am, because I think it's what they needed. And I called it also. I was excited because I kind of called it back in October as a joke, but I wanted that to actually happen. So there you go. But yeah, it's a good day for the franchise. This is a turning point. This is the start of a new era, I think, for the Bruins and for where they want to go, getting James Hagens.
Yeah, and I just for me, always exciting to see all the people that come into the chat. So thanks.
Thank you, everybody. This was fun.
Thank you.
Carl, we'll always remember, we'll have this. It's documented. It'll be on the internet forever. So yeah, that's it. That's Bruins Beat. That's Carl Corazzini. I'm Evan Marinofsky. James Hagens is a Bruin. You Bruins Beat listeners, watchers, have a great rest of your week.